All right. Hey, everybody. So this is Solomon. I met Solomon recently. Very, very impressive story. I'll do an intro and then I want Solomon to get into how we got to entrepreneurship at the age of 14, where he sold vodka lemonade to prison guards. So that's how he started. And then he went to a different entrepreneur journey. Now he's in real estate. He'll share with what the value he provides, unlike any other real estate investment you might have seen. At least I haven't seen it before. That's why I wanted him to share and why it's a great value for any real estate investors looking to diversify their portfolio. With that, Solomon, please introduce yourself and let's get into your Groupon story. I want to hear that again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, yeah, I'm Solomon Floyd. I'm the owner and CEO of Reunion Investments. I'm an economic developer, and our main focus is helping people provide investments that better communities. And the reason I got there was because, for myself, I grew up in the areas where I didn't really get to see community, and how I ended up getting from point A to point B really allowed me to grow and turn into the person that I am today. So to cut to the portion of, as you said, when I was a kid, I would go visit my dad in California, and I started a lemonade stand, and I ended up adding a little extra ingredients without really knowing what they were, and I ended up selling and making a couple $1,000s selling lemonade with spiked vodka in it to these prison guards, and a lot of them knew. They called me out for it, and they told my dad, but it didn't stop them from wanting more. They were off duty, they'd go home, they'd do their thing. So that was fast forward a couple of years. I decided to start this tour company while I was in boarding school, and it was historical tours of New England, formerly historical tours of Boston. And we would explore and kind of show people a lot of what the good stuff is about Boston. And it turns out that one of the times, these people ask me, "Hey, do you have a bar crawl?" And I'm like, "Whoa, well, no, I don't." And I said, "But give me 1 second." And this speaks to the aspect that entrepreneurs and people who are self-starters have to be really like just adaptable, right? When somebody asks you something, it's like, I don't have it now, but if you just give me a little bit, I can probably get it for you. And so I went to the nearest bar, knocked on the door, and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about trying to start this bar crawl. Can you guys help me out? I've got these people outside who want to drink." And guys are like, "Well, you know what? That's perfect because I own the next like 4 bars down." I was like, "Oh man." So we could do like could you have them kind of go to each place? And so he gave us a special for each one, and for each place for each person. And that's when I kind of got started with the historical tours of Boston. Kind of became higher and higher tours, and slowly and kind of creatively turned into what is a large network of businesses trying to help travelers and people who are new to Boston, who just want to understand how to get around and have a good time and offer discounts. We were later kind of sucked up and got purchased by Groupon, and so that was when I sold my first company, all at the age of around 16, 17, um, to achieve like the next portion of where I got into. And from there, I tried to figure out what the next thing was. It wasn't until about 4 or 5 years later that I decided, real estate was going to be it for me, and how I was going to really get going in real estate was by starting something totally different. And what I realized was there was this lack of real estate investment services, but everybody wanted you to invest in their project and their thing, and invest in somebody's vision. And I realized that and said, you know what, I can do this in a way that doesn't make it all about me, the one person. For me, it's all about the communities, and it's all about the investors. And by being able to start my company the way that I did, and center around the investment services, which is you, the investor, get to be the rock star. You, the investor, get to enjoy the wealth and creativity, and you get to do it all without having to be so involved that real estate is your only thing. And a lot of people want to do real estate, but they don't want to quit their jobs for it. And
Right.
so Reunion does, my company now, is we focus on creating a plan and placing investors within our plan strategically to make sure that they succeed and the communities we invest in succeed.
Awesome. Awesome. Great info. I don't know if you want to get into how you accidentally got into this, maybe another time, but let's dive into those details, how you differentiate from others and your unique strategy, especially helping real estate investors be more focused, I would say. That's based on the discussion we had. How do you get them to focus on certain area and niche market, and how you, especially your returns are pretty impressive, obviously. Please get into that too. So let's get into that, like how you differ from the normal investor to how you help them create a concentrated market and all that stuff.
100%. Can you see the board okay?
Yeah, a little bit, half. I can see about a half. There you go, perfect. Yep, now I can see it.
So when it comes to real estate, there are essentially maybe 1 to 2 schools of thought on this. And where I focus is on the second thought. The first one asks you to invest here, maybe in a single family, and then way over here, maybe in a multifamily, and then way over here, maybe in like another single family, and then maybe way down here. I don't even know if you can see it. You can't even see it. That's how far away it is.
You can't see it down far, but yeah, we get the point.
That's how far it is. You can't even see it, right?
Right.
And what I've realized is the problem with this is for every single one of these investments that you're going for, you are relying on the people around you who are also buying in this area to raise the price for you. So as it is collective, yes. This minimizes risk for people because they can rely on everybody else. And somebody told them that this is the hottest market, and this is the hottest market, and this is the hottest market. But what they didn't really teach them was how to dive deep inside of what makes this market so hot, right? Is it an industry that's tied to something like oil and gas? Well, if it is, what happens when the oil and gas sector falls? All right, we saw exactly what happened. Mass exodus. People left the oil and gas sector and homes were being left. But luckily, not this time, homes had done a really good job during the COVID-19 with oil and gas. And that's because of the way that Reunion invests into communities. It's because of the type of investment and opportunities we've been able to point out. So this is where everybody must rely on the other person next to them to sell their home at a higher price, to have higher rental comps. You're relying on something that you have zero control over. And this is what will bring entire economies down, because when this happens, we have mass foreclosures because people aren't being able to understand, when people stop moving to this area, did we overbuild? Or did we underbuild? Or did we build too little? They focus on the one aspect in each market. Where Reunion, my company, has its school of thought is being able to identify growth in an area and seeing the opportunity. Our main strategy isn't let's go to the biggest, baddest market and fight over pennies. Ours is let's go build a market that we can fight over for dollars. So we'll take that single family home and I'll build it out. So I'll actually start at the beginning of all of this. With Reunion, we identify a plan, which is, boom, we'll call it City One. So that's City One. City One's been identified because it offers something that I truly want. And what I truly want is a place that's stable and safe. I want it to be separate of a larger economy, because larger economies are only tied to the surrounding economies. A lot of people don't know this, but if all of the little small farms and small cities went away from Texas, went away from around Dallas where I live, the people here would starve. We don't have farmland. We don't have the ability to sustain as a city. So a lot of these smaller markets are wholly dependent on these big cities. So we focus on things like tertiary markets. Tertiary markets are the ideal market for investors looking to attain a different kind of wealth, primarily because it's protected, and it also makes sure that it's far away from another economy. So the things that we look for in City One are going to be things like universities, right? We're going to look for universities. We're going to look for military bases. We're going to look for hospitals. A tertiary market a good tertiary market will have one of these three things. If you hit the trifecta, which there are tons of markets out there that do have them, you're in for the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Benefit of these little small things is that they are not attractors of very large investment pools unless they're in a big city like SMU would be to Dallas or University Austin, University of Texas Austin,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for us, I can build for each one of these. Now in the tertiary market, you also have some other key factors. And these are the things that make it great. So again, going over why City One is the choice. It has the ability
Mm-hmm.
to provide renters and buyers. It has the ability to provide.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The other reason we chose it, got too many pins, look at me, is houses. It has a lot of distressed housing,
Mm-hmm.
homes that look like garbage. All right. So it has distressed housing.
Right.
That's the other thing we look for. We come down this way. All right. It has a large renter base.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that, directly correlates here 100%. Large renters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, it has the ability to provide higher rents.
Mm.
So in my markets that we look for,
Mm-hmm.
got these distressed homes. So what it would cost you in Dallas for a 1,200 square foot home
Mm-hmm.
is probably going to be closer to $250,000.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
In a tertiary market,
Mm-hmm.
same size square foot home
Mm-hmm.
that's distressed, and there's both distressed properties,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be closer to $45,000. So $45,000 house.
Uh-huh.
We'll do the math. We'll do the math right now. Where can you see? Where can you see?
Yeah, kind of.
Bang, and there we go. All right.
All right. Uh-huh.
So in the tertiary market, what you're going to see is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this in a different color actually, because it'll be easier. So in a tertiary market, what you're going to see is this.
Mm-hmm.
Your purchase price,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be, call it $45,000.
Mm-hmm.
Your rehab price, it's probably going to be $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that puts you at 85,000.
Mm-hmm.
So at 85K,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so 85, this is your all-in cost of this home. Now, this home is going to be worth, when you're done, maybe $110,000. So if you do decide to refinance it out, you can pull your cash out and have a small note or have some small equity left in. There's always built-in equity in these homes, a lot more than what you would get in a place like Dallas, relatively speaking. Primarily, prices are so high, but they're not really tied to anything. These homes are cheaper, and because they're cheap is because they're tied to their actual value of what they are, which is sticks, bricks, and glass. Very simple, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But this, right, will now yield you something even better. So that's where we are. Let's say that's a tertiary market.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get into the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say you have a monthly payment of, we'll call it $500 on this home. That's monthly. It's a monthly payment for a house.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
But your rent, and this differently, but your rent here is, well, I'm just gonna call it all as I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Your P&I is equal to $700 a month.
Right. Uh-huh.
And this is the same $45,000 home.
Mm-hmm.
Your rent is equal to $1,250 a month. Tertiary market rent. do the math, and we'll be able to see what the big difference here is. Now, at the end of the day, it is not going to be the most amount. So you're cash flowing off of a essentially $85,000 investment. You're going to be cash flowing, there we go, about $500.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the biggest return,
Mhm.
but what it does tell you is that's
Mhm.
$100 that you get every single month. Now, at the end of the day, what
Right,
this provides you is something valuable.
right,
So this is the one house, $500 a month.
right,
We come back up to our example. So
right.
let's say you want one single family home,
Mhm.
and your goal in the next 5 years is to have 7 single family homes. So we build you a plan. Single family home, single family home. And so over the next, we'll call it 2 years, the next however long your plan is,
Right,
we start acquiring homes all throughout here.
right.
Now, when we do this,
Mhm.
everything becomes even better because now
Mhm.
all these homes have comps of homes that are renting for 1250.
Right. Uh-huh.
So our goal is to always establish the status quo and the norm because at the end of the day, if you have control over what the investments are and you're not hopping from place to place to place to place to place,
Mhm.
you're the only person you have to rely on to bring your pricing up.
Right.
And because the tertiary market doesn't draw a lot of attention from investors,
Mhm.
it's very easy to do this unimpeded.
Got it. So the five, I mean, the norm is normally on a rent is 250, right? I mean, at least in the Dallas market, you're essentially doubling that.
Right? And so we have investors who do make more than that $500 a month, depending on whatever they got their house for. But ideally speaking, that's it. $500 a month. That's an additional $250,
Right.
depending on what the norm is for your city, which is why these are more lucrative than anything you'll see here.
Right.
Because doubled what would have been I don't know, let's say at the very least,
Mhm.
yeah, you've essentially doubled it to make it somewhere closer to about an 8 to 10% return.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's just phenomenal, in my opinion, because this is a very valuable situation. So now that you have one, two, three, you got 4 of these homes, all cash flowing at $500 a month for you.
That's huge. Yeah.
And on top of that, the only reason that's even possible is because you were able to buy these homes so cheap.
Right.
The biggest fan of an ARV, but if it's a $110,000 home, that's a really good deal when you're getting $500 a month off of that. I mean, you're really getting that 1250, but after all your costs and expenses are gone, you're knocking yourself down. That's money you get to walk away with every day at the end of every month.
Right. Got it. Awesome. And you also do the other part you do is actually, turn buildings into apartment complexes. You explain very value add by adding restaurant spaces.
Well, so that's the other portion of it, right?
Right.
So, in my opinion,
Mhm.
next step in so the years go by, 2 years go by, and you've acquired 4 homes, and you're making great money, and you're like, this is amazing, I love this.
Mhm.
Our next step
Mhm.
is to provide more value into this neighborhood. Now, while you were while you were rehabbing these homes and you're renting them out,
Mhm.
we've had other clients down here building a shopping center.
Mhm.
So what have I just done? I provided value to this neighborhood. Let me put
Right.
this. I provided value to this neighborhood that now makes it more attractive for renters to live here.
Right.
Because instead of having to go all the way over here to get everything that they need, they can just come right down this way.
Right.
And because this is newer, because it has the better shops in it, because the people who can now pay that $1,250 a month every single month now live here, I can afford to put in those higher end places. I can afford to attract people can spend more money.
Right. Got it.
Starts coming here, start coming here, start coming here, start coming here, start coming here.
Mhm.
Now I've provided people the ability to do what? Which is have jobs.
Right.
I've created jobs. So now these people are making great money from these people.
Mhm.
Well, let's say you come to me after you've done, right? It's all happened at the same time.
Mhm.
You say, what's the next step? What's the next thing I can do? You have 2 choices. You can sell off these homes to the people who work here because they can now afford to do that, or you can keep them rented and cash out these homes because you already know this $500 a month is going to be able to cover that note. And then you come down here and you start building new homes.
All right.
These are going to be the new homes. So
Awesome.
now, new homes, right?
Mhm.
With new homes, these people who now live here, who've lived here and love living here and want to keep being here, and now that again, right, you've improved this neighborhood. Your four homes have allowed all the other investors that have come behind you to
Right.
have better homes, which
Mhm.
means the schools got better, which means the parks got better, which means the roads got better, which means everything got better for those people. So if that's the case, right, now they're going to want to stay here and they're going to want to enjoy themselves.
Right.
So what does this do? This is economic development. This is how we plan developing economies. Oh, Austria. Haha. That's how we plan developing economies.
Excited, yeah.
Oh, we did it. Awesome. I love it. All right, you got me?
Yep. Pretty good.
So yeah, this is how we develop and plan economies for the benefit of investors and the communities we work in. It's what makes it like beyond one of the most amazing things we can do because our investors profit here and really build wealth.
Real well. Yeah, you're making a difference in the community, not just making money.
Exactly.
Before we end, quick two things. One is I would like to highlight normally what you offer the investors, the return. What's the average? That's one highlight. The other part is I also wanted you to mention a bit about how you can help multifamily investors too with this whole concept.
Yeah. So essentially, the way that we've done this is we've created a plan that puts you in place into what we've already created. So by you fitting into the plan, it allows us to achieve this goal and make these returns quicker, to start generating this revenue quicker, and to start increasing that value quicker. We do things over a period of years. It's not to shock the markets that we work in, but to also give you the ability to ride that appreciation curve as high as it can possibly go. Right now, as a Reunion, we help you with the acquisition. We help you with the acquisition of homes that are anywhere from $15,000 to $65,000.
Nice.
And then we own our construction company. So we'll help you build and maintain the cheap renovation cost and the cost that makes sense for the investor. Since we own our company, we are buying everything and giving it to you at cost. The only thing you're really paying for is the time and the labor. From there, we own our property management company and we are able to secure and maintain and manage the portfolios to keep this strategy going. Because with this strategy, we can keep boosting values, we can keep boosting rental amounts. By doing this, we're again creating a better community, and that is the full turnkey service of Reunion. And that's what makes it super easy. Now, we do have other products as well, and some of those are going to be if you want to join our joint ventures, which is where we partner together and do the investments ourselves while we remain as one of the managing individuals. And the same thing with our real estate funds and our other syndication deals as well. So there are tons of opportunities to invest with us and be a part of the strategy. And this is the best part about Reunion is that we offer it for the individual investor who wants to take this on themselves and for the large investors who want to be able to take this on from a very passive level. So we have everything from what you guys need to be able to invest with us and to succeed with us. And that's the very big key and quality portion for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Solomon. So I'll be posting his LinkedIn profile. Reach out to him if anything of this sounds interesting and you want to get more details, especially the concept and how you can diversify your portfolio if you're already an experienced investor. And if you're not and looking for options, I'm telling you, this is a great option. I've talked to a lot of real estate investors. You should definitely talk to him. Thank you, Solomon. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon.